Okay, how should we go about like maybe introducing a topic or what we're going to talk about or what we're going to say or like
Yeah. Okay,
like
so
like when it cuts in, at 0 seconds on a YouTube video, what?
should we just go like, hi, as I'm Mr. Grateful. And do you have a
I don't have an alias. um yeah, yeah. I just I don't know. I've never chosen a name. I don't know how to do that.
you
Um
just pick a magical name, just one that
yeah.
like usually because when so like in the Golden Dawn, which is a hermetic um magical order,
Yeah.
um basically you meditate and then you just sort of like intuit a so they get you to pick a name in Latin and then
Mm.
give the thing. So you can do that, or
I mean, I've been like, I just need like an online handle basically. I've never, yeah,
you
I
can
would
just
just
pick
went
something
by.
that's cool and magical that you think like you vibe with. That's what I just did. Mr. Grateful, I just vibed with it. What
Yeah.
happened was it was actually Mr. Within's Gifts. I seen that nickname and I was like, I want a nickname.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since I have an art profile, like I can't just be Daniel Martin online because you can't like Google Daniel Martin. But when artists have like basically a handle, you can find them. So it's something I thought about for years. It's like, I need some kind of freaking, I need some kind of handle. So I ended up just, I don't know, using like a website name. But no, that's something that's been plaguing me for years. But on the other hand, I don't know what to like. Um, yeah, I
Well,
don't know.
who's because like, well, let's have a look at this. Let's who's like let's think of a because you're creative, and you put forms to things because you draw, and you're I feel the vibe that I get from you is like very like calming, and also you're a very sincere seeker.
Hmm.
Um, so like you could find like a like deities associated with like sincerity, calmness, um, and but also depends what sort of like energy you want as well to come through you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Man.
Is there a deity that like you've just vibed with for ages, or like even a person, like a mythological person?
Hmm. I can't.
That
Somewhere,
or
somewhere there
or
must.
who's your what's your favorite tarot card?
My favorite tarot card, I think, you know, probably the Magician or the Hermit.
Yeah. Why don't you just combine both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, dude. I like um yeah, I don't know. I chose Don Quixote because I was starting reading Don Quixote. I was like, this guy's the shit. This guy just
That's a cool name, man. That is so cool though.
um yeah, that one works all right. I like yeah, I don't know. Tough call. I didn't even think of something, but I don't want to like hang up a discussion on it. I don't know.
Yeah,
To be
that's
honest,
cool. Sunday.
will we like we'll
Because for me, what I've been doing as Taos is just like not thinking about stuff. Like it's more practicing. So like say for example, this first video is gonna be like, say for example, we're making pancakes, right?
yeah,
This is gonna be our first pancake.
yeah,
The first ones always turn out not so good.
yeah.
But as we keep making more pancakes, we'll get better and better and better because our
Oh
body
yeah,
naturally,
no doubt.
yeah,
We'll
naturally
find
just,
the areas to form up and
yeah.
yeah,
So with the start, I think just like, hey everyone, we're going to be on an epic quest
yeah,
to recreate the universe.
yeah. I mean, that's I think that's the
In the
right vision
world.
to have. Like, to start off, So, what we're going to do, we're going to mainly talk about the tarot.
Yeah.
And I have a bad habit of saying tarot. I don't
Doesn't
remember
matter,
which is
man.
the yeah, we'll be talking about the
We could
tarot.
troll people and just say tarot.
Yeah, the tarot. Yeah, that's the first place to get viewers is just rage clickers.
Yeah, the tarot.
To show our deep dollars.
Yeah.
Like that's how the sages used to say it, guys. Get with it.
Yeah, yeah. We've got divine providence came to us. We ancient ascended masters. They said, guys, it's actually tarot.
They're
You've
like,
been
there's a
saying it
T on
wrong.
the end of there for a reason, idiots.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah. So how to start about talking about that? Who knows? But we've started drawing it. Um, and I don't know. I suppose we'll go from there.
Yeah,
Um,
let's just kick in. Let's just kick in.
all right, to kick in, I had honestly last night, I had this dream, right, which I think like the concept of the magician and the fool, right, is
Mm,
where it all starts. Like they're basically like I think that those are kind of like a unified, um, right? Those are like a unified principle
yeah,
because you have like basically the fool, you're basically throwing yourself out there as as the subject. So,
yeah,
whatever it is, whether it's like first creation or, setting out on a journey, learning anything, being a baby born into the world, like you're going to be the one you're going out to experience. It's like being a newbie.
yeah,
Like everyone's a new, you start off at level 1 or whatever. Whatever it is,
yeah.
you're going to start from ignorance and you're just like, all right, throw it at me.
Mm-mm.
And, the magician is basically the content creator. So, so anything that comes to form has to basically like be received by someone. Something has to go out and then it has to be perceived. To come into
Yeah,
perception, it has to be perceived. And one thing I've always read about in these occult books, when people talk about magic, whether it's like, people taking it very seriously or, people having fun with occultism, and either way, they're like, you need to keep it to yourself. If you're going to
yeah,
do like a magical working, you need to keep it to yourself. And, and they're like, if you tell everyone about it, it's not going to work. It can't work if everyone knows what you're doing. And
I've
I
got.
had, and hold on, I had this, so I had this dream last night and I was like, it wasn't anything crazy. I was like in my friend's house and they had a picture I'd drawn up on the wall. And I was looking, I was like, oh, they have that old like piece of junk. And I was kind of like looking at it like, yeah, I guess that's something old that I drew. Then I was talking to him, I looked back and I was like, it changed. That's a different one. And I didn't think much about it. I was like, it changed, and I didn't expect them to care or really believe me, but I'm like, oh, the picture changed on the wall, and they're like, oh, okay, all right, hold, we'll put it to something else then. So they took down, because they changed to a different one of my drawings. So they took it down and put up just some random, picture of a ship or something. And I was like, oh, I kind of like, I caught them there. They're like, I caught it changing. And I woke up and I realized like, also, beyond, the same phenomenon of like, don't tell anyone your workings, you have to keep it to yourself if you want magic to happen. It's the same principle, I think, is, when the philosophers, they talk about like the world, like what divinity means is reason, it's logic. And like that's the divine principle and that's what the world works on, like it's logic. They call magic like the science.
Yeah,
And like it just hit me, it's like, right, in a dream that can change because there's no one else to fact check it, right?
yeah,
But if you were there with me in the dream, you would have also seen the picture and it wouldn't have changed on me,
yeah,
right? If both of us would have been there to see it, it would have held its form because like it would have had to remain logical. If it's just you
yeah,
can change it, but if there's other people, and like, and that's how, if the world comes together as information, then the information has to, like, it's the amount of observers, that's the double slit experiment. Information exists on a wave. You shoot a particle out, it comes across, it reads on as a wave. Every potentiality is how that one particle is coming out until they
Yeah.
record it. Then they record it and it collapses into the one thing that gets recorded. It's the
So until
same.
it's observed, yeah.
Yeah, like that's the meaning. Like, when the Zen masters are like, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to see it, does it make a noise? And
Yeah.
the answer is no. I mean, if like a bat is around, then it gets, then the bat will log that in, it'll get received as bat intention or whatever. But like, to me, I could like, it clicked to me what the fool and the magician is. It's basically blockchain. Like, that's how we build information. If the world is information, that seems to be all it is. All anything that's real is just because information has to hold, due to like the divine realm of logic. And so, blockchain is just, it works because everybody has it in their ledger. So like that struck me. It's like, oh yeah, dreams are not the realm of logic. That's why they're not, real. There's not the yeah,
Like like
there's no fool for the magician. There's you, it's just you.
yeah. Well, I like all those points. Um, but it's really cool because, obviously we're both of us are very much um down our own paths. And from my perspective, because I like the fool and the magician, because so from my perspective, I guess it's like the fool, you like come into this world, or you're in this, or like you're being reborn. So say you're born and there's no filter on reality, right? So
Right.
everything's like chaotic all around. Like all you do is feel like energy all around you, right? And everything that you used to know, or like say for example reincarnation's real or whatever, um but say like all the things that you used to know, you have to forget it, and you have to. So from the magician card, I see as like someone that's learning how to use the tools that they have. So your gifts and talents, the first tools that we learn to use is our body. And then thought is a tool. Our emotions are tools. Our instincts are tools. All these things are different tools, but we're learning them unconsciously in a natural way, right? And then as we grow older, so you're like adding layers. So like say for example, the fool is like just a seed or a blank slate. Then you're sort of like adding another layer to the lens of how you're viewing reality,
Right.
right?
And as the
So
fool, you have a more infinite possibility there.
yeah, so
Like
there's
the
like
layers are like a mesh, basically.
yeah, so like the layers, so like once you use the tools are another layer to how you're perceiving reality,
Yeah.
right? So like when you're a baby, so like Lao Tzu says, like when you're a baby, there's no thoughts, no dreams, no nothing happening, because you haven't experienced this reality to have any of those, right? But the baby's vital energy and their grasp. So you can put a baby, right? So the baby's muscles and bones are all soft and weak, but you could get them to grab a hold of a rod and they'll hang off it. Like that's how strong they are. They can carry the whole body weight.
Really?
And yeah, you can watch videos of it. They get a
Huh.
baby and they put the baby's hands on a rod like that, and the baby will hold itself up like just automatically out of.
Yeah, they seem to just grip anything, even like you give your finger to a baby, they're like,
Yeah. And so the left and right hands as well, these are tools too. These are tools. These are just tools, right?
yeah,
So like and then so with the magician, like as a baby, so in your mortal form, right? When you're first born, your mortal form, you're learning the physical plane. You're learning the physical plane, and you're just unconscious using your body and then prescribing what that means to you, right? At a very physical level, right? I can walk, what does walking gets me from one point to another, right?
hmm,
But these are just tools on the ship. Our body's the ship.
yeah.
or the Pegasus
So
one.
at this point, well, where does the magician and fool archetype come into like that sort of developmental, like the
I
so
think it's from when
to
they,
like to a baby's awareness, right? A tool isn't necessarily self-identity. I said like,
okay, well, when my first memory when I was a little baby was wanting to get picked up by my babysitters
uh,
because I wanted to be hugged by them because they smelled good and they felt good.
yeah, really,
That was my first memories when I was a little baby. And then also one freaky memory when I was a little baby was like, I remember I was like dressed up in this real like nice white shirt and stuff. And there's a picture there of me. And I was standing out on, because we lived in a 2-story building, and there's back stairs, and then you look down and there's like there was a pool and stuff there, but I was looking down and just thinking how far, like what a big drop that was, like as because I was tiny, and I was like, whoa, that's scary.
damn.
But yeah, my main memory, because I got like my
You have,
memory is quite good. I remember
yeah, you
all the
have
way.
very early memories then.
Yeah. um I remember most of my life, since ever since I was a little baby, I've been able to
Really?
remember. Yeah. Um,
Impressive. You've managed to like adapt the Tao or whatever. It seems very difficult the longer, the more of a memory you have.
yeah.
I guess you have to get better then at putting it down.
Yeah, well, because that was the thing, like the doubt, like having this memory was really such like is like a curse and a blessing. Because like I've got this instant ability to just like relive experiences.
Hmm.
Um, and when I was like sort of unconscious and not really sitting it and working on all of these experiences, I wasn't transmuting all of those lessons, all the enduring, like all the lessons that I had. Because I just go back and it was like, oh, that's a traumatic event. In this normal world, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
about you can't do anything about traumatic memories and thoughts and stuff like that. Well, I was like, well, that's what you think. I'm
Yeah. So like when you say when you weren't transmuting them, you
Yeah,
basically mean
because
you weren't growing from them at the time, right?
yeah,
Before you learn to
because
do that, you're not growing from them, you're just identifying with them.
yeah, you're just identifying with the memories because you're not those memories. That's just an event that happened.
Right.
Yeah. Um, that were outside of my control. And in dealing with those events and taking back, like really, it's like soothsaying. I had to go back in time, soothsay, transmute those memories into power, into positivity, and then transcend them. Like,
So you think soothsaying then has to do with the past, not the future?
yeah, it's all with the part because I haven't been
Uh,
able to see a positive future because I wasn't dealing with my past. Now I just live in the moment, like day to day. That's like I'm just like, what am I going to do today? I don't think about the future. I don't think about the past. The only time I think about the past is usually about the knowledge and wisdom I've gained from practicing mystery traditions and art. And then also how I've, because like now I just see people as symbols. So like
uh,
almost, I see people as symbols through their energy.
what do you like? Um, can, can you clarify that a little more?
Yeah, like so for example, my like when I was going through the period of transformation, my mother and all of that, um, I was my intuition was being shown to look at the lore or the story about Persephone and Dionysus, and that type of thing. So like I'm able to use those old stories in mythology to identify the energy of what's going on in that event, because everything's just we're just replaying stories, right? We're replaying stories. And if you don't realize, like, if you don't realize that you're the actor in the story, but you're also the stage.
So you mean, yeah. So essentially, like when you see someone, you're gonna always see them through the symbols that you project, basically.
Yeah.
So
Usually like,
like,
so
like you like if you're gonna, so like for example, if I remember I was like out at a bar one time and like my whole life I've just identified like with just being a nerd, like that's what kids in high school
cool.
called me and everything. And then one
Yeah.
time I was out at this bar and this guy's like, man, you hipsters, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I was like, this guy, I was like, oh, you
You
think
just
I'm
leveled
hip?
up.
I was like, you think I'm hip? So it was just like, oh, I just kind of, that's when I realized like, oh, he has a different projection. You always assume that like everyone identifies you with the same symbol. And then at that moment, I'm like, oh, I could see the symbol that he used
Yeah.
to project onto me as opposed to, what I thought was standard.
Yeah,
Um,
because he's identified you through his lenses, through his experiences.
yeah.
Whereas what with me, it's usually I'll feel the energy. So like I'll have an interaction with someone, I'll feel the energy, and then after that, I'll get thoughts and stories and visions about their energy, and how I'm meant to relate to it, or how I
Oh,
want to relate to it.
really? So you get the energetic impression before you think you get the like archetypal impression.
Yeah, and I can feel also if like people have like sort of like psychosomas, or if they've got like different ailments like that's got their energy, I can feel it in my body because it maps onto my body.
Huh. Are these That's crazy. I mean, not crazy, not, I mean, I don't know if that's one of those words you should use. Um, oh wow. That so then I mean, okay, there's this like line by Rumi, where
Yeah.
he says like feel what it's like to walk down the street, or like feel what it's like to walk down a noisy street and be the noise.
Yeah.
Do you think like if you're getting an impression before, like, okay, so if I'm walking down the street, I need to like, for example, I need to um like allocate uh everybody, if that makes sense, like
Yeah.
whatever. I'm gonna see a guy, I'm gonna be like, all right, there's the hipster, there's like, I'm gonna see like the whatever, I'm gonna see my story first.
Mm. Yeah.
So then is that a
I feel
less intrusive, is that like a less or more overwhelming way to
no.
experience other people? Because it sounds overwhelming, I don't know, getting a direct
I f-
feed.
yeah, I feel that that is a way um to make sense and feel safe in the environment, because if you're able to label people in your story as you're moving, right,
Yeah.
then there's a much more higher sense of safety because you know how to control your behavior while you're moving through that. um Whereas for me it's like, um I feel everything first, and I can feel people, and it's like I can feel, and I get like all these visions and stories and everything about like who they are as a being, all this type of stuff like come up, all this energy, their energy. I just it's like I can feel
Ah.
into their energy, and then the information comes to me about the individual, like and mainly before it was like I would just use that information. When I was much younger, I would use that information. I wouldn't listen to it. I wouldn't listen to it. And then after that, I started listening to it, but I only used it to go, oh, in the past when I had that feeling, that meant that that person was a baddie and that person was a goodie. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But now I've removed those labels and redefining it as well.
yeah.
Um, so I gain, because then I can gain the ability to grow. I can grow more as a being.
Huh. Yeah. Wow. I mean, because that's the goal, right? I guess of, intellectual or spiritual or just human development. I mean, I would assume, yeah, the goal of growing up is to like see through prejudices. Um, that makes me so to like, I guess to speak in terms of like the tarot,
Mm.
then
The
the emperor then is something that you uh, aren't so much uh, have overlooking you, or at least this is the way I understand like the emperor. Let's just
Okay,
call it the whatever this like mode of like
because
this
I
greater
haven't got.
intelligence is.
I feel like I understand. I understand the Fool card, the Magician card, and the High Priestess. I'm learning now about the Empress, but I haven't really delved too much into like the Emperor yet, like because I only had a very superficial experience of it. But for some
Mm,
weird reason, I understand
he
the
doesn't
world
seem to
card.
have much sway over you. Well, at least this is a way I think, at least something I was reading today that like
Mm,
made sense to me. Someone, I don't remember who it was, I wish I could credit them, but they put it like this. I think it was in Robert Wang's book, um, the book of mystical, the Kabbalistic Tarot, a book of mystical philosophy. He's like the when the magician and the high priestess, when the magician acts on the high priestess, that's what produces the phenomenon, the like dual phenomenon of the empress and the emperor. So basically, the empress supersedes the emperor, right? It's the third key. So in a way, here's an example they give, I think was really enlightening. They said, all right, close your eyes, you're going to get a stream of thoughts. So that source of just this stream of thoughts would be the empress. Then the part of your intelligence that can break those thoughts into like naming this fear and naming this a dog and naming this Daniel and naming this Samson, then the thing that forms the thoughts into like basically packages, that's the emperor. The that would be, yeah, the part of intelligence that then breaks things into their formative like units.
yeah, okay. How I'm feeling about the Empress though is really like coming from the High Priestess, which I feel is like the moon, our intuition,
Mm.
cleansing our intuition, and then moving into the Empress is about building your foundations, because the foundation,
Cleansing the high priestess,
yeah, so
moving into the empress.
yeah, so the Empress is like, so you cleanse your inner world, you purify your inner world, right? So say for example, your pure consciousness at the Fool, and you're just like open to everything. It's like
Mm.
there's like all you know is like what feels good, what feels bad, what makes you feel frightened, what makes you feel alive, like all these things, right? And then you use the tools like, okay, well, I don't want to feel like afraid. So what can I do? What do I have with this body? In what ways can I use it to create tools to protect myself? And then I've got needs. So what tools can I use or create to fulfill these needs? And then the High Priestess is like, okay, you channel, like it's a the feminine aspects are quite passive, but they're not passive. Like it's like doing nothing but on purpose. It's not doing nothing with ignorance. It's doing nothing on purpose.
Hmm.
So you can cleanse your channel. Um, and then you cleanse out your inner world, and then the Empress energy is like sort of like all the abundance, but she fills it up to build a foundation. And the foundation that you build is like a spiritual foundation, a spiritual body with the four, like for me, it's like with the four elements type of thing.
So the Empress is like pure input.
Yeah, it's like material structure. So, and she gives the safety. I would say it's like the Empress. You could put the Empress with the like Isis sitting on the throne with the baby Horus, right? Or even like Mary with the baby Jesus, right? So it's like she's the form, the foundation of your pure consciousness. She builds it around you to be safe. And then once your kingdom has been set up, then you learn a higher level of understanding and behavior as I'm predicting as the emperor, you'll behave in a much different way. And the thing is, with each different individual, you know, we've got our different stories, our different lineages, you know, our family comes from here. This is our story. This is our gods or whatever. And that's a whole body. That's a whole body that you're part of that collective, but people are part of different collectives. This is what I'm starting to understand
Hmm.
is that with the tower moments are like, you're not like, your inner world is not part of that collective. So you get kicked out
Yeah.
to fend for yourself, right? And that other collective or body, like, so for example, like the Western society, uh, it doesn't mesh well with most native cultures, right? Because it's a foreign body trying to inhabit a different land where people had their, like in magic societies, they called them egregores, spiritual houses. So
Yeah.
it's like a spiritual war, right? And that's why some people, you can't have understanding with others if they're not, if they haven't done the internal work to enlighten themselves about. So the more ignorant you are, the
Because
more ignorant you
they're
are.
only gonna see like
They're
you mean
controlled
like
by
they're
the
only gonna see like a mutually exclusive they're only gonna see
version
like a
of,
mutually exclusive I don't know, filter or whatever.
yeah, they've got a prescribed filter that they don't see through. Like they can't, you know, like how you'll say like, oh, uh, a person, I'm not a racist. I'm not a
Yeah.
racist. I've got a black friend, right?
Yeah.
However, all their actions and behaviors, they're unconscious. So their unconscious body, their body, your body is the unconscious, right? You have to make your whole body conscious. So the body, their body,
What do you mean the body is the unconscious?
so like your whole body is the matrix for the world, right? But for your world as well. So you're either in someone else's house, spiritual house. So your body and most of your thoughts are going to be controlled by the house that you're governed by, right?
What would be like an example?
um, like for example, if we look in Australia, if we look in Australia, in Australia, the four pillars that usually currently come out in the news, they're just like the big four, right? So those are the pillars of this society, and the big four are banks,
Mm,
right? And
right.
if you look at the way that this society operates, all the language, the ethos, the pathways are usually based around being a worker, then starting a business, and then yada yada, hopefully becoming.
Right. And any any outside form can be seen and
That,
relative to you in the terms of property in one way or the other.
yeah. So you're like, yeah, pretty, and that's why, because I was like, why is it so transactional? Why is relationships so transactional? Like, and it usually stops at that. Like people I found here are so uh, they're like lonely. They're lonely and they want connection, but their behaviors and actions promulgate transactional relationshiping, where it's like, and also one-upmanship.
Yeah.
Like, I'm only because they're not sourced by themselves. So they're like, I'm going to give you this much in the relationship, hoping for a bigger return. And that's what's running in their unconscious mind. They're always looking for a profit,
Right.
even in their
So
actions.
so then in that parsing of like their in that parsing of their bubble of reality, then they're they're doing so from the function of that egregore
Yeah.
of yeah, of that like okay, yeah, egregore.
And
Egregore
so
being an egregore being like the group thought.
the hive mind, the
Yeah.
over spirit, right? Of
Yeah.
that,
The belief
of that.
system, they're like, I'm not racist, but
Yeah.
that's the way that
But
I
my
construct my whole
behaviors,
world.
yeah, my behaviors and how I interact. Because if like coming from Fiji, we're a sharing culture, we're sharing and giving. We laugh, we crack jokes and stuff like that. But then when you come here to Australia, it's like people are so cold. Like, and they like, you want to give because I've got this heart of givingness. I want to give, you know, because it makes me feel really good to give, and do things for other people. But here, I have to relearn, okay, well, if I do that here, I'm not going to get, it's not unreciprocated.
Yeah.
So what I learned from uh, working with the runes, um, and working with that divination system, the Norse rune divination system, I really got to learn about um, so they've got one rune called Gebo, and it's an X like this.
Hmm.
And it means giving and receiving, reciprocation. So you can receive something from nature. You can, so like, and what the ethos is about that is that if I give you something, right,
Hmm.
you'll naturally feel inclined, to feel obligated to give back,
Yeah.
right? To give back.
Right.
But when I'm working with people in the egregore of the West, so people that aren't enlightened or in tuned with themselves, right? They don't want to give back. And so
Mhm.
if I look at people as people and not part of a bigger belief system, then that's how I was getting fucked up in the head.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking, I was actually almost thinking that I was going to go in the other direction. Like for example, because there's a little bit, I mean, I can see it both ways. And this is like what fucks me up in the head sometimes. It's like, all right, um, let's say I receive something, like I'll sometimes just receive. It's like, okay, I don't know. If sometimes it's like, if I feel like I have to give something back, then it's kind of like throwing a gift on its face. I mean, it depends. I guess it depends on the context of the thing that was coming to you.
yeah, because for me it's like an energetic exchange now, right? Energetic
Yeah,
exchange. So it's like, you know, the vibe that I get from you is very good, like it's very good energy, right? So
well,
I
that's
was
great.
like, just being yourself, I get good energy. So I'm like, hey, this makes me feel good. I want to reciprocate that, but I want to do it with something tangible,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
you know,
Okay.
to
Yeah,
show you how I feel, you know.
yeah. But then if I was like closed off and you give me something and then I was like, okay, what do you want for it?
Yeah, then I'd be like, oh, okay,
You'd be
that's
like, oh,
sad.
never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad, like, because
Yeah.
it shouldn't feel obligated. That,
Yeah.
it's like you make me feel good, so I want to do something. Like when you're kids, like, and you get a gift from someone, it feels really good to receive a gift. It feels so nice, and then you
Yeah. And
feel
then you're
like,
free to reciprocate a gift
yeah,
rather
because
than
you're like,
free
that
to
make
do it
me
rather than
feel,
obligated to do it.
yeah, because you're like, that made me feel so good. That made me feel so
Uh,
good. I want to make other people feel as good that
yeah.
I got the gift.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm
when
gonna
that
gift.
works, it's better to, and then when that works, it's better to give than to receive.
Yeah,
But there has to, yeah, but you do have to have an open two-way channel, not an implied
yeah,
two-way
not
channel.
all. Yeah, so it's like being on
Uh,
top of a mountain, and then there's a river going down, and then you've got a lake at the top of the mountain, and then you're expecting for river water to come back up the top of the mountain.
yeah.
It's never gonna come back up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like imagine if you had an ego at both ends of a battery before like a charge could flow, it just um I wonder, well, is that I know like the Empress also is seen there's like it has to do with the energy of receiving
Yeah,
because I guess that's what like abundance is.
yeah, it's receiving.
So if you can't have like an open, even you can't even receive your own life in like an honest way.
Yeah, because I think,
You're
because
not
like,
in touch with that.
yeah, so if you feel like closed off to the world, because like if you base your life on the human kingdom, on man kingdom, human kingdom, it's still very survival mode. Still very survival mode. That's why in the last year or so, I've been going out, like almost every day. I'll hang out at the river, and I'll just like talk with the river and hang out with it. Like, just, I was like, teach me, just let's reciprocate energy.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to the trees and I'll hang out and I'll learn. And like the natural world comes alive, and like the lessons that I've been learning from them just being, and me being there and open to receiving, you know, um, how they talk, because the talk is comes through you. That they don't have a mouth, but you've got thoughts and a sound, and that's where they teach you, in here.
In a
Uh,
full, yeah, in a full threshold. I mean, I think that's a big problem. I think that's one of like the chief mental illnesses of like the Western civilization at the moment, right? Is because sitting by a river, we can we can project that forward and it sounds great. And we can reflect and we can project our memory. I mean, because that's all you were doing with memory, right? It's not like you're
yeah,
really looking back on memory. You're pulling it forward.
yeah,
It's not like you're really looking at a thing behind you. You're taking something and you're putting it in front of you.
yeah,
So we have this thing of like, oh, I wanna go out, I wanna be by a beach, I wanna like I can imagine that and it sounds great and I can my memory is good, my nostalgia of it is good, my desire for it all sounds good. But then like you can get there and then you're like, all right, where is it? We're like, make it like make it more real. How come it's not like you're trying to take pictures of it, or like
yeah,
we can snap pictures of it and like I don't know where's the pot of gold at the end of this rainbow? I came all the way and where I'm still, we can't. I mean, at least speaking, I think I can safely speak for the,
yeah. And I feel like you
majority.
compare. Like sometimes you can compare. Like say for example, like I know a lot of people, they're on their phones a lot. So
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I feel like going to the beach, but then they'll be like, look at their beach on the phone, and the dopamine reaction in their body relates, oh, okay, well, nah, I'm just gonna go get a snack instead, and then just look at pictures of the
Yeah, then you
beach.
do it and you sit there, you're like, okay, did I get it? Did I get it yet? Do I need another 5 minutes here? Or can I like, because I gotta go and I gotta do that. I gotta like
Yeah.
gotta get lunch.
Where
Maybe should I like get a beer? Maybe I should have brought a picnic. All right, maybe I should leave and I can get like a 6 pack of beer and then maybe it'll happen. Like then maybe
yeah,
it will happen. And then,
yeah,
like you take a picture and you're like, okay, I'll put it on Instagram. Like maybe once I get a feedback, like I need to get a reflection back. Like it's
yeah,
like nature can't give its own reflection. It's like I need to have this experience reflected by another human being.
yeah.
And then that happened. Of course, that doesn't do shit, obviously.
Yeah, because
But
I go there and now I see them as bodies of consciousness, as spiritual consciousness that I can learn from. And I also see them as a more real family because they give
mm,
me wisdom to navigate this world with a much more sense of ease and peace.
yeah,
And and like now when I walk down the street, there's so many trees. I feel so connected to the trees, to the earth, to the stars, to the sun, the moon, the air that I breathe. I feel connected to everything now that I'm relating to nature, and I'm seeing them as living beings that I cohabitate this plane of existence with. Um, and it's about being respectful to them and honoring them, that they hold this world together.
is I wonder what is some good like I don't know advice or meditations for like um um conceptualizing non-human beingness, because like a tree is being, a tree is being just as much as we're being,
Yeah,
but but you know um
I see the tree like the fool card, like it just bees it.
like the
But
what?
it's just being, like it's
Yeah,
just being. Like it's a sage right there. It's a
yeah,
cultivator, you know. And so like some of the lessons that I learned from just hanging out with trees is like the earth, the world, the black soil underneath is the foundation. So Mother Earth. Usually a lot of people call the earth the mother, you
yeah.
know. So the earth is the foundation, and the deeper the roots go, so there's a whole tree underneath the earth that is growing and is fed and plenished by the mother so that it can shoot up to the heavens, right?
Mm.
But it's not separate from the air, the sun, the stars, the universe, the earth. They're not separate. They're all one thing, coexisting in a beautiful cycle. And when it's their time to pass, then they nourish the earth again for new things to grow. So that's like just something that I learned just from watching trees. And like looking at trees, I can see there's moss, there's bugs, there's birds playing in it. There, it's giving shade. You can rest in its under the shade. It's cool. There's all of these other plants that grow up underneath the shade of giant trees as well, because the sun's too harsh for them to grow. So they're just by them taking like, so they're not taking, like they're being nourished, and while they're filling their needs for them to grow, as they grow, they allow other things to grow and flourish around them. So I'm like, how do I take, so I go, that is now a part of my system, that I want, the story that I want to move through this world as, you
Yeah,
know.
how do you, I mean, in essence, yeah, like you said, with the whole ecosystem there of trees, bugs, every moss, they do, I mean, like really a tree is, to put it back in like these digital terms, like I was talking about, of
Mm, mm,
like reality basically being built like blockchain,
yeah,
like a tree is a very functional information storage device. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
a bird can reflect off of it, the moss can reflect off of it. All of these things can then like, you know, yeah, bounce beingness off of it. I
It
wonder,
also takes our carbon dioxide, right, which is
yeah,
poisonous for us. So like our, like say for example, inspiration, you're breathing in spirit, inspiration, spirit, you're breathing in spirit, and then you're breathing out any negativity, but then a tree will take that, right,
yeah,
transmute it and give us back new
right.
spirit.
And like for all of that, it's technically by our standards doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, good teachings there. It's like that Lao Tzu. It's like that Lao Tzu quote where what does he say? The sage, like,
Does nothing on purpose and nothing is left undone.
yes, that's the one. Yeah. uh, yeah, they say be like water, maybe be like trees is an easier place.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe
that's
that's
a,
maybe that's a simpler place to start. It's like, how can I, be a tree to this, like to whatever room you're in.
yeah. And like storms will come, strong winds will come, and that's why there's a lot of that. There's a, when if a tree is too strong, it'll snap in the strong wind, but when it's young and flexible, it just bends like this.
Yeah.
And usually when it's young and flexible, it's filled with water. That's why I said be like water. Water's
Uh,
shapeless and formless.
yeah.
Shapeless and formless.
Yeah,
So
there
it's
was
like,
something when I was in Hawaii, I was looking at those trees blowing in the wind, and I was like, holy shit, that I don't know. I couldn't like, put words to it, but it's like, damn, that's amazing. These things, you see those giant doing just that, these strong winds that would like, they'll come up like that and they can just bend all the way over, and they're in the way that they can like, yeah, they're giant branches, I suppose you would
yeah,
call them fronds. I don't know,
yeah.
but yeah, that's amazing stuff. Um, I gotta go. I have company coming in.
No worries, but it's
We're gonna
such a pleasure
go meet at dinner.
as
That might
always.
be a good place to stop. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, fascinating. Great. We'll leave it till next time.
Yeah, man. Let's if we can, let's make a plan to schedule as many as we can while we've got free time.
Yeah,
Because we don't know when we're not going to have free time. So yeah, this is feels great. And I think if we focus on doing more of this content, the rest of our
yeah,
ecosystem of work will
yes,
just
yeah, exactly. It's good like fertilizer rather than
yeah.
just like sitting down and just like beating my head against like, oh, I don't know, do something brilliant. Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're
ridiculous.
mirrors to each other, and let's let something just be born naturally through our conversation, and then they'll give us inspiration to do it the rest of our art and work.
Yeah, great. And hey, these I'm gonna make a Google Drive folder.
Perfect. Okay.
Um, so did you record this? I mean, I hope you did. I did as well, but since it's something I don't know, you know, um,
Oh,
who knows with like technology, like I might get it and it'd be like, ah shit, it didn't like record my half of the audio or like, my
okay. Well, I didn't press record because I thought
all right. I did. So let's
next
hope it
time,
works. Yeah, let's hope it works good.
next time if we both just hit record.
Yeah. Because I have a
Yeah.
hunch when it comes down to editing, it's going to be very useful. Like there was an option there, and it was like save each person's
Yeah.
um, audio stream separately.
Yeah.
Uh, and I did that. So, now I guess it's like, I don't know, let's hope like I can get my hands on a video editor that can handle two streams of audio or whatever. I mean, anyways,
It'll
yeah.
work itself out.
Well,
Don't
like
worry.
now I'm glad that we have like also a first batch here, and
Yeah.
I can like go get nerdy
This is our first
with the hell
pancake,
I can
man.
do with it. Yeah. All right. Cheers, brother.
No worries. Thanks, Buzz. I'll talk to
Yeah.
you soon.
Later.